If I could go back, I'd tell younger me, you're going to do some pretty great things, but you do not need to be great. All you have to do is be yourself. That will always be enough. What's that mean to you?
You know, I've had a lot of different thoughts that have come into my mind now having a child. When Courtney was pregnant, thinking about raising a child, myself when I was a child and all these things. And I think I always felt like I wanted to be good at everything I did and be great at what I did. And I never expected to be as good as I was. So it would just be such an interesting relief to be able to give myself to be like, you are going to be great. You're going to have all these things that you want, but you're also going to realize that they're not as important as you think they are. You know, like you're going to come to the realization where the relationships and your values and everything that you enjoy and the experiences of everything aren't going to come down to those spectacular moments on stage at the Olympia. They're going to be much more simpler than that. They're just going to be those moments where you're being yourself, and the people who love you for that is going to be everything.
You do not need to be great. That compulsion, that necessity, that sort of being pulled forward, the lack, I am not enough as I am. And if I achieve these great things, and if everyone thinks I'm cool or says that I'm successful, then I am worthy of acceptance and validation and praise and adoration. Is that the subtext below that quote?
Like, yeah, essentially, yeah. That's it's just a drive of self-worth. You know, that's kind of a buzzword of what's going on right now. But I think it's, you know, we were all kind of raised in a self-esteem society of being like, you can do anything, you can be anything, go be this, X, Y, and Z. And it almost built expectations that we had to be these great things because we could be. And our parents didn't have these opportunities and these privileges. So we go do all these things. And there's just no need for any of it, you know? And I think when you were able to alleviate that pressure from it, like we were talking about the difference of like the extrinsic goals of trying to be the best in the world versus just trying to be my best self, you know, and setting authentic goals to myself. What are my authentic goals? Winning the Olympia sometimes is a little more inauthentic than me truly trying to just push myself to be my best. Do I still enjoy that? Absolutely. But those are the more of the need to be great, the little ego, the things that I'll die not needing. But the intrinsic goals that are regardless of things out of my control, you know, win, lose, beat him, don't beat him. What's in my control of just being myself and who I am, showing up at my best, knowing that I can go to sleep at night knowing I was myself.
We talked about pressure as a privilege last time, but this is actually the same, but in reverse. This is privilege is a pressure.
Privilege is a pressure.
Yeah. That the privilege you have carries along with it this pressure in order to perform. Well, your parents didn't have this opportunity. And think about your 6-time Mr. Olympia. You're really going to think about maybe not going for 7. Why wouldn't you leave it the most dominant athlete in history? Why are you going to drop it? You know, like privilege is a pressure.
Yeah.
And it's one of the odd byproducts of anybody that's doing really, really great things, that a lot of people are driven by this unconscious assumption that they're not enough unless they do great things. And it'll cause you to go and do great things, but to what end? What's the outcome? What's the texture of your mind like when you go to sleep on a nighttime? Do you really want that?
Do you feel great doing great things? Do you feel like shit doing great things? What's it worth? What's the price?
Do you think you're like an odd person to become a world champion?
I think so. I don't know if everyone thinks
so.
That. You think so too?
Yeah,
okay,
you're a fucking weird guy to be a world champion.
I totally agree. I think most people would be like, there's no fucking way this guy's going to be a world champion. If they were literally this little bitch, you know? But I don't know. I think, in my opinion, what I've learned very deeply over the years is that confidence is just truth. You know, it's just being honest. And there's people who put on this false bravado of arrogance of being like, you know, they were 5th place at the Olympia last year. Don't pick out whoever was 5th and pick on them, but someone not winning, like, I'm going to show up and I'm going to win this Olympia. I know it in my heart. It's like, you don't know that, you're lying. That's not confidence. It's just a lie. Whereas when I've speak to myself truthfully and I'm like, I don't really know if I can do this. Like, I have doubt. I have fear. I just wanted X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, being honest, to me, that exemplifies real, true confidence. And you're being realistic with yourself. You know, if you tell yourself you're going to do something you don't think you really can do, you're creating this gap between your beliefs and your reality, and it just creates more stress in yourself and an inability to perform, in my opinion.
Unwavering confidence is a lie. The fears never go away completely. They just don't linger as long. What's that?
Is that my quote?
To you.
Sounds great.
You wrote it. I mean, it sounds fantastic.
Sounds beautiful. I mean, that's kind of in that same boat. And maybe I'm just the weird champion who's not like that, but I still am full of doubt all the time. And I've tried to find ways to believe I wouldn't have doubt. You know, I've tried to like talk in ways where I don't have doubt. I've tried to everything. And there's always just lingering doubt in my mind of being like, well, fuck, what if you don't? What if you can't? And it's just the truth of my mind. And regardless of that, over the past 5 years, I've still been able to perform, progress, and be the best in the world with that on my mind. So who's to say that I can't have that doubt on my mind while being a champion? There's no rules to it. That's why I've always said the champion mentality, the rules of being a champion, is that there are no rules. It's just whatever the champion does to win. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah, there's a great story from Matthew Syed. So he's a sports reporter. He's obsessed with tennis, and he went to Wimbledon a few years ago. And a unique aspect of tennis over the last decade or so has been that you had Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal, three goats, three potentially literally goats, all at the same time, all interchanging and exchanging who won on this court or this tour with this surface. And he went to go and watch them warm up. And you go in and you see Nadal, and he's just ripped, absolutely shredded. It's all aggression. It's pure sort of raw, animalistic energy. And then you go and see Djokovic, and he's sort of robotic, very precise, very curated with the way that he moves. Nothing is wasted. And then you go and see Federer, and he's playing trick shots, and he's laughing with the guy that's woman. He goes, okay, so if you were to take any of those three approaches and say, in order for me to become a world champion, I must be A, B, or C. Well, you can't be all of them, and all of them are successful. So what does it mean to say that A or B or C are the right approach in order for you to be successful in the sport of tennis? It doesn't. It means that each different athlete has found a way that works for them. And when you try and take that format and apply it to yourself, what you end up doing is it's like trying to put on somebody else's pair of shoes. Yeah. You go, well, I'm a size 10 and they're a size 8, and this is not going to work.
Yeah. Well, the truth is A, B, and C are all wrong answers. Anything out there is the wrong answer. You have to build it in yourself, you know? And like I talk about the cookies of the intuition, you know, over time, you build intuition. When you can get into a flow state of just trusting yourself to show up as you are. And if it's playful, if it's intense, if it's quiet, if it's loud, if it's doubtful, if it's whatever, if it's just who you are and you're not needing to put on any facade, and you are able to release that mask and show up in a flow and trust your instincts and act on instinct, I don't think you can be beat.
In other news, this episode is brought to you by Function. I wanted a better way to track what was happening inside of my body, and that is why I partnered with Function. They run over 100 lab tests every year covering heart, hormones, nutrients, thyroid, and even detecting 50 types of cancer at stage 1. That's 5 times more testing than a regular physical. Best of all, your results are charted over your lifetime and explained in one simple dashboard. Lab testing like this would usually cost thousands, but with Function, it's only $500. I rely on Function because it's evidence-based and run by a team of expert physicians, so you can trust that the data and insights you receive are scientifically sound and unbiased. Plus, Dr. Andrew Huberman is the scientific advisor and Dr. Mark Hyman is the chief medical officer. Function has a 300,000 person waitlist, but every Monday they open a few spots for Modern Wisdom listeners. You can bypass the waitlist right now by going to the link in the description below or heading to functionhealth.com/modernwisdom. That's functionhealth.com/modernwisdom. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, you will love the full-length conversation with Chris, which is available right here. Go on. Press it.